Hope lives always. This afternoon, I was invited by a friend and fellow pastor to come down to City Hall in the afternoon to pray with the chief of police and ministers from all over the city and many members of the police force, to stand in unity with them, to pray for them, to pray for our community and our city. I agreed to come, but it wasn't until right before I walked out the door that I got a call back from the same person who invited me to participate, that I wouldn't just be standing and praying alongside of them, I would be leading one of the prayers. As a pastor, I am not shy about my willingness to pray, especially in public, but this was not something I was prepared for, even though I certainly agreed to be a part of it. And as I got up and prayed in the middle of the city, surrounded by a diverse group of pastors from all over our community, surrounded by our police and the captains and the chief of our police, something happened to me that I haven't experienced in a long time. I began to shake. My legs began to wobble uncontrollably. I would have stopped them if I could, as I prayed into a megaphone in front of all of these people. The last time I felt that way, where I couldn't move without shaking and quivering, was when I preached for the first time, and then the subsequent years after that when I first started in ministry. For me, it was a sign that I couldn't do this on my own, that only with God's help could the words come out. People ask me often why I move around when I preach and why I will pace back and forth behind the pulpit and don't always have notes in front of me. And the reason is I learned very early on that if I memorize the sermon and if I wander about, no one can see me shaking. No one can see how unable I am on my own, which isn't a bad thing. In the many years that have followed as I've been a minister, that old feeling has dissipated. I have not experienced it again until today. And for me, it is a reminder of what brought me into this calling to begin with. A reminder of my own smallness, and a reminder that something much larger than me is needing me to share hope and truth with our world. I am struggling for words much of the time right now as we endure a disease, as we endure injustice, as we watch violence in our streets, and as we saw what I saw yesterday, a miraculous example of love and support from both our police neighbors and our neighbors who were protesting. Today, may we all feel that quivering of hope that reminds us that there's something larger than us that loves us, that cares for us, and that is calling us outside of our inability and outside of ourselves to share our hope with our neighbors, with strangers, and with all who need to hear it, and we all need to hear it. A singular truth, that Christ lives. And because Christ lives,